Okay, so I'm going to put this first, people, and then I just went out into the yard. Okay? We got this little thing going, this little plasma ball. Do you see it? Not really. Hold on. Do you see my little plasma ball? Kind of. What can I do? Hold on. You see it? And my little plasma ball. Anyway, I had my landlady's daughter call me in regards to the city. You know, everybody's got their problems, people. I'm not the only one. And like, honest to God, I'm not trying to stress out anybody any more than I want to be stressed out. Okay, I explained to her what's been going on in terms of the gang stalking around people wanting me to lose my grandkids, because if I lose my grandkids, one, some people think they're going to get Amari, and I'll never see Amari again, because I'll end up like Ciera, homeless on the streets, a complete basket case. So, you know, Julian's sister is really going out of her way to try and make that happen. Okay. And then, of course, we've got, you know, the Duncan clan still lurking in the background, wondering if the provincial government is actually going to clean the swamp, because they're in that swamp, people. Right? And they don't want to be swept out to sea. Okay? Never mind maybe going to jail for some of the shit that they did. But the thing is, nobody will ever go to jail for what happened to Uncle John. Nobody. You know, and right now it's just the waiting game with the government, as it has been since Uncle John went missing, because time is their weapon. It doesn't remove the fact, though, that there are still lawsuits that haven't been dealt with. So, and then of course, what happened with ShaMay, right? And a little bit of, so far, of what happened with Ciera. You know, if ShaMay was alive, people, I would have had more time to spend in the yard, and it would have been basically done by now. Okay? Because she would have been there looking after her own baby. If those people were that concerned about the long-term future, I guess you could say, of Amari, they would have been a lot more helpful versus trying to sabotage everything that I have done or tried to do. Because right now we've got Julian's sister infringing on a federal trademark that she seems to think is funny. And it just verifies the gang stalking that's been going on for a long time. Because honestly, I think she started before ShaMay was dead. I mean, let's face it, she targeted Freddie. As soon as her brother started dating ShaMay, what did that girl do? She started dating ShaMay's ex-boyfriend that she had been with for 5 years. So right there, that tells you she started targeting this family. And then, of course, it just got worse and worse and worse. To the point where now, you know, anonymous phone calls come in, and this is what I tried to explain to my landlady, right, her daughter, and it had already started, though, with Uncle John, right, when Uncle John was medically kidnapped. And it just kind of progressed into what happened to ShaMay. And all those little colluded groups that are connected to that criminal activity that fuels this stuff forward. So in the meantime, all right, I went out in the yard, I videotaped, I'm going to send her this video. She can bypass this part if she doesn't want to listen to it. She's got her own problems. I wouldn't want her problems. I'm not going to tell you her problems, but let's just say she's being jerked around like everybody else in this province right now with this psychological warfare. Everybody's on lockdown, don't breathe, right? you know, so she's fallen through the cracks, and, you know, she doesn't need the stress any more than I need the stress, and she thinks that, you know, the owner next door should be paying me to do his yard work, and I just, you know, I kind of hummed and hawed around that one and just simply said, well, you know, it's in my best interest to get a handle on those weeds and that vegetable marrow, and, you know, on the bright side, next year you might get a little more food, which makes your mother happy. Not that she needs the food, because she doesn't need the food, people. She needs the emotional and just that stimulation in terms of, like, you know, the elderly, you know, life is getting short for them. There's only so many things in life that can bring them true pleasure, and, you know, having access to pick your own beans or whatever it is just brings you back to a state of peace of mind where you'll live longer. Therapeutic plant therapy, I guess you could say. So I'm just happy to have the land at this point, and I've formulated a mode of attack. I'm going to start smothering some of these weeds like the good old days, and that will take care of a big problem. I'll dig out my weed whacker. I'll take it to Home Depot. I'll have somebody make sure it works for me correctly and put in the, you know, that stuff. And if I have a weed whacker, it won't be nothing just to go around fast weed whack everything. Tisha will like doing that. I'm having a problem though. I'm having a panic attack, like I'm feeling really ill right now because my 100-foot extension cord, for whatever reason, is not working. So I don't know how I'm going to cut my grass, because even if the city comes by and says, oh, you need to cut your grass, everything always looks better with your grass cut. And I can't even cut my grass right now. Now I am going to go look around and see if I can find a 50-footer. I think I have two 50-footers that I might be able to connect together. So I'm not I still may have a chance yet to cut my grass before the city comes by. But this just kind of shows you how sick I get over it all. I'm now getting sick, not because of wood stumps that are turning into dirt, right? I'm getting sick over the fact that because my grass not cut, it's going to make my yard look unkept. And that will be the reason for the city to come in and start taking compost, like wood and rocks and everything, and leave me with barren land as I'm still being gang stalked. Right? The windows and the vinyl siding, again, I'm going to use the vinyl siding a little bit. I won't use it all. But if that stuff is not gone by the end of the year, I don't want it, people. Okay? I only tried to build in a program for the community as these little houses were being torn down. I didn't realize, though, how rich my community is in terms of they would prefer to buy the materials new versus used, because they can afford to buy them new. But to build a greenhouse, that's enough right there to make a beautiful little greenhouse. So my landlady is thinking about, I don't know if she wants it and somebody will build it for her, or if she knows, because I said, do you know anybody that wants these windows? They can build themselves a nice little greenhouse. Greenhouse, well. But somebody would have to build it for her, right? And she's old. She's 76 years old. She can't build her own greenhouse. But they're perfect for that. So before the city has the right to come in and take those windows and that vinyl siding, you know, we need to find out if that greenhouse is going to be built by the end of the year. Because if they take them, nobody's going to have a greenhouse, right? And if my landlady really doesn't want them or doesn't know anybody that wants them, I still have a little time to maybe build something a little more in the back. Maybe. But I'm kind of burning out, people. You know, I want to get on with my own life too, right? So it's enough for me just to put in the pond, lay the bricks, finish up the compost boxes, you know, finish up with what I'm already working on in terms of my own greenhouse and the seedling room and that kind of stuff. You know, I don't need another greenhouse per se, right? So I'm not too worried about it. But I'm extremely worried about my grass, and I don't have money right now to go off and spend $100 for a 100-foot cord. So after I get off this video, you're going to see this first, and then you're going to see my little yard check, and then I'm going to go look for whatever extension cords I can find, try and piece them together, cut the grass, move a few stumps, I suppose. I don't have time to weed yet, right? And I don't know. And then apparently there was like a noise complaint. I was arguing with somebody, my neighbors. First of all, I don't talk to my neighbors very much, people. I really don't. I talk to my neighbors over there. I talk to this neighbor once in a while. I never talk to that neighbor because he's unfriendly. And I don't even see them. So I don't know where this argument came from other than maybe the day the city showed up. Maybe that's what it was about. So I forwarded that video over to my landlady's daughter so that she had it from the horse's mouth, right? Obviously, I got extremely upset. I went into panic mode because of the ongoing harassment from the city. For whatever reason, a lot of it's based around gang stalking, right? Because this is very valuable property. People want this property, if not for property investment purposes. They want me to lose my grandkids, right? So that they can think that maybe they might get Amari, or they won't get caught for what they did to Uncle John, or they won't get caught with what happened to ShaMay, as long as I'm ruined. Because once you shut me up, what, the story's gonna go away? As everybody is in their masks, peeking through the curtains. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna do for the next couple of 2-3 days. I'm going to try and mow my grass, start tarping up those weeds next door, and just, I guess, tidy up a little bit more where I can. And then over the next several months, I'll be building, people. Building beds, garden beds, doing compost repairs, decorating them, working on the pond, laying down the walkways, finishing it all up. And then by the end of the year, basically what I haven't used, it's out the door, right? And then next year, it will be hopefully less stressful. Okay, people. So now it's May 5th, 2020. I have the video that I just did converting, and I got off the phone with my landlady's daughter to discuss what's going on with the city. Now she sent me some pictures. I told her I'd do a video. Okay. As you can see, we're putting in a pond. This is just teaching Andre how to build things. You know, it's something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. So, you know, it's easy enough to fill up after the fact, right? If and when eventually I'm going to leave, and if the house isn't torn down by then, you know, if they don't want a pond, it's simple enough to poke a few holes into the rubber liner, because we're not doing, just hold on a minute. You can see Paige and Tisha tidied up in here. Okay, some of this stuff I still may use. I'm not sure yet. I won't know until I get into it, because I have to build in shelving. And I want a fencing of some kind. Right? Okay? Now, when the city took their pictures, nothing was really growing, right? I explained to my landlady, right, I need these bricks to either do something like that, you can see, right? Or I kind of like this idea. I'm actually thinking of hiring somebody up by the shelter that knows how to do this stuff. A man that needs a little bit of work for the day, you know, budget in $100, right? And because if you notice, that works really well in terms of what I'm doing here, right? So I'd like to do that probably pretty much all the way around at some point. Some there, and then, because I got to keep raccoons out of this too, right, people? And then maybe a little bit in here. I wanted to build in a little bridge. We know that we're gonna, this right here is gonna be the awning. So what I'll do is I'll just make that more level, right, for now. But I've got another one on the side. Okay. These are boulders. They even kind of pushed everything off to the side. There's pumpkin. But you don't put these things in last until you get everything in, right? But I have to shimmy down straight, and then I've got like a, you know, Presto wood or something put up and through there. So because this tree right over here, it grows a root. So I kind of want to, okay, this is what I'm going to work on with Andre. Now, Tisha cleaned up all in here. You can see all the planter pots. I just burned out, people. That's what happened. We've got our plants coming up, and we know these ones get really tall, and they're very beautiful. Same thing with these ones. Here, let me go this way. My extension cord is not working. I don't know how I'm going to cut my grass. I have to buy a new extension cord. It's like $100. Okay, so we're looking at this picture. When they took the picture, nothing was green. So what you seen were the stumps. And I guess for the city it wasn't appealing. But if I take the stump away, what happens, people, is that grass, which I don't necessarily like, I don't think anybody really likes it, spreads. So what that does is it helps to contain the grass and keep it kind of like where it makes it more natural. Do you see how natural that looks? And it, over a period of time, it decomposes and it adds nutrients to the ground. That's what it does, right? This plant here isn't blooming yet, but it's coming. So very soon, it's just going to be full of pink. And then we've got these ones coming in that are purple. And monarch butterflies love this plant, and so do hummingbirds. But of course, when the city took their pictures, none of this was here. All they seen was the stumps. Okay? This is a climbing ivy, which is now well rooted, and it looks really, really nice. It brings in a more natural setting. What I told my landlady is, I do run this pond for the community. I just turned it off because I have to just figure out a better system in terms of the plugs. And plus this pump I think is too old. I need to get it. I have a new pump. So I should put the new pump in here and then work on, when that pond's done, buy another pump and get rid of this pump, because this pump doesn't last very long. So anyway, when the pump is running though, right? When the pump is running, people sit here, people. They sit on this stump and they just sit and contemplate. Well, I don't know what they do. I just know that they like sitting there. I've caught people literally sitting there just listening to the water. So, in terms of moving a stump, you know, okay, maybe this one I could move. But then you see, I've got this here, right? This is the pump system that I use, because I don't have $2,000 to get the kind to bury into the ground. So I made my own with lava rocks, So, you know, it kind of takes away when you're coming, you don't really notice it, right? Take away the stumps, it's really going to stick out like a sore thumb. So, I don't know, people. I'm so stressed out with this, I tell you. You know, I leave this here to prop up this. You know, it adds nutrients into the ground. Another year or two, this, leave it here for another. If I start moving it now, that's the problem. Once I start moving it, it's going to be bare. Where if I just leave it as is, by the next time this year, it's going to drop. And what's underneath, you're going to get really, really good wood. So, I mean, if I take this one away, what happens? I don't know. Do you see how it starts? This is what you want. This is how you make nutrients into the ground. But the city wants to come in here and haul it all out with a truck. Because they don't see it as, I don't know, people. So this one I'll put over there. But you move all this, then you're just asking. See, this one is ready to be busted up. See, now in this case, because it's like this, do you see? Look at that. This is good stuff, people. Right? I just haven't gotten out here yet. I'm going to leave it like that and bust it up. And then it puts nutrients into the ground. Right? Got a tree here. This is a plum tree. My landlady likes plums. This thing is going to start producing pretty soon. And she loves plums. It's one of her favorite things in life is plums. So I don't know what's going to happen. But maybe we might get plums from that tree this year. The more the merrier. She likes plums. I don't take too many of the plums. She loves them though. So, you know, things are now just starting to come up. So, like, I wouldn't remove those because if I take those away, that crabgrass just gets 10 times worse. I don't know how the city could consider a wishing well to be garbage, but I don't know. This provides shade a little bit for this, right? Obviously I get in here and weed, and I weed out these things when I'm out here working, people. You know, we've got gonna be plants coming up here. These ones get real tall too. They get like 6 feet tall. They've just started to start growing in here, right? This is organo. This gets really, really big, right? By the end of summer, this thing is huge, full of purple flowers, full of bees. Full of bees. If there's bees, the bees will come. If there's no bees, you don't see too many bees, right? So I don't know. I don't know what to think. This one makes purple flowers, right? It's okay. This is another plant that gets quite bushy. It's very nice, right? Everything's still, look at that. And of course, when the city came, they didn't see any of that. And then we've got these ones coming up, which are purple flowers. Blues and purples, if you notice, they come up first. And then the yellows and the oranges, these are yellows, will come up, right? These ones have just started. Those ones over there have just started. These are trees. Trees, trees. That's a tree. I tried to tell my landlady, these here is to finish off. Whether I'm putting it on the side or at the bottom of the pond, like a lot of this, some of this, like these ones here, more than likely, at least about 2, if, right? You can see how many's there. Will go in the actual bottom of the pond when it's done. Some of them I can put in between here versus cement, right? I cemented these in. Well, I didn't cement them in, but I laid them in. Here I used a little bit of cement when they were downstairs working. You can see. I really like this idea, so I want to take that idea and just keep going all the way around, people. I do. And then, because I have pipes, and then I've got these kind of rocks, which came from underneath here that was buried under sand. I can either use them for a little drainage, just as a backup measure, just in case you might need it, right? Or if I don't use it for that, people, I use it for stuff like this. And then whatever bricks, I've already said this, whatever bricks I don't use, I'm going to take them, finish up the little bit I have in the back, right? But in here, because there's a drainage problem right in here. This gets really muddy over the winter. So, again, the city wants me to do something that I'm not capable of doing fast enough. This is these parts for that vinyl siding, which, like I said, I want to run some of it through there, through here, through that box, probably on that side. I want to do the back, right? The windows are up for debate yet, because somebody might want to build a greenhouse, whether they're building it for my landlady or whether she knows somebody that wants a greenhouse. They can have those windows. They were donated to me, right? We know what I'm going to do a little bit over there. I have to, people, because if I don't, this is what happens. So even if I build in a garden bed here, it doesn't matter, because it gets overrun by that stuff. So now I'm going to take some of those tarps that are over there, and I'm going to start smothering this where I can with what I have to build in actual garden beds. Over here, we've got flowers coming up now. You can see this one gets very tall, right? We've got rhubarb in that corner. This one produces big purple flowers. We've got the blues coming in here. More blues, right? And then I plant my beans in here for my landlady. And that's her spot in life, right? Because beans will grow here. I want to open up these two beds because, you know, it produces more food, right? Obviously, wouldn't mind getting a little bit of this going for whatever reason in terms of producing more food. This is just a border, right? Here, this year, at some point, I'm going to have to pull this out, dig down 3 feet deep. Look at this one. And bury wood or something so that the blackberry bushes don't crawl out. And even then, right, this is a terrible plant. It's something you don't want in your yard. It's extremely prolific. This yard is infested with it. So anyway, this is just a border, right? I'm not worrying too much about this part here right now, right? This will be fine for now. But at some point, you know, when I get a handle on other things, I will be clearing out this corner, making my barriers. But you can see, you know, things are starting to grow, but now I'll get into trouble for not mowing my grass. And my extension cord is cut. And it's not working. I tried to use it, remember, with the drill, and it didn't work, so I don't even know if it's going to work for my lawnmower. These things I leave here again to make mulch. I haven't had a chance to weed yet, people, because, you know, just haven't. So, but once you take out these little things, sorry, right, you know, I have to come in here with a knife. It won't, you know, take a day, that's all. But what we've got here is, what is it called? Clover, purple clover. So once I take out the weeds and leave the purple clover, right, and because the purple clover fills up real nice, when you walk in here, it's really nice. But when the city came, of course, they just seen a bunch of stumps. And they want to come in here and take away my stumps. So, of course, I have to weed a little bit in here. You can see. Right? So here, not worried too much not worried too much about whatever. Okay, got this corner. I don't know, people. You know, let's be realistic. One day, it's just going to be all tore down, and it will mean absolutely nothing. I don't know why the city wants that for every house. Right? Anyway. Blueberry produces, blueberry produces, blueberry produces, blueberry produces, raspberry produces, right? Obviously, I have to clear out here when I have my seeds. That's when I'll take that up, bust it up, I put it into the ground, right? I weed all at the same time. I'm only one person, people. I can only do so much in one day. Look how that's growing. That's really taking root. And these things look nice when they get rooted. Lemon balm, Andre and I have decided to harvest these when we come out and work, and then either make them for tea or aromatherapy. This is my little bit of leftover walnut wood, which I told my landlady I will bring out my skill saw this week, and I'm just going to saw them down because that's for Andre's walnut art, people. But I haven't had time to build on Andre's walnut art, okay? But I don't want to gather. I'm done with walnuts. I have enough now. I just have to build the website. So that's pretty much where we're at with this. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm feeling kind of not well.